Hello, I'm Sondra in my happy place, and you've seen my workstation, which I love. Fantastic. Anyway, I just thought leading on from yesterday, it's never too late to learn. And in this lesson, I'm just going to show you just how you can look at paintings and think something's not right. And I've pulled out the colours already. So we've got turquoise here, which is Montmartre, quite a good one actually. Then we've got blue. I put phthalo blue in here. These are only cheap paintings. I don't mind using cheap when I'm playing around. Often I use cheap at the beginning, and then at the end I'll use the really expensive paintings. That's a great way to save money. So there's that. Then I've got Payne's Grey, which I prefer more than black. And that again is Montmartre. Montmartre's quite a good student level paints to buy. We're coming over here to one of my favourite colours, yellow ochre. You can do so much with this, and you'll be learning this as you watch me over the next wee while. What else did I have? Oh, this beautiful bright mid yellow. It's bright actually, that yellow there. It's just a real cheap thing. I think it was $3.50. And I'm in New Zealand right now, so but great colour. And of course, we're back to the good old white. This time I've used gesso. I often use gesso because it's cheap and it's white and it's fairly translucent. So I try to let my layers come through. So important. Anyway, what are we doing today? Let's have a look. This is going to fascinate you. We're going to be doing, I'm just getting my brushes ready. You've seen the landscape that I'm doing out there. I'm here in this beautiful place with the swimming pool and the landscape. And this is just me playing with the landscape. Now, my idea is to get some more darks into this. There's not enough darks in this, right? So that I want it to pop out. And I need more mixtures, different ways of using shapes, different shapes. It's too boring, okay? And this is another one that I played around with. That's got a bit of potential. You can see it's actually looks like a lake coming through. It's supposed to be those mountains, but it's sometimes paintings have a mind of their own. They just want to be what they want to be, and you can't change that. You just got to go along with it. So I'm going to be working on both these fairly fast. So I'm going to just turn you down here, if you don't mind watching, and bring you down, all the way down. So you can see as I paint. I've just got to get the right view here. It's I think that's pretty good. Okay, I've got my water here. Always have my water, and I've got an old rag which I use, and I also have these facial wipes which I use when I want to take paint. The idea of this paint today is to put the paint down and take it off, add more layers and all this sort of thing. I'm going to use my palette knife. I think I'll get a thicker one. That one's pretty good. These are cheap ones. I actually bought a new one the other day. I don't know where I put it. It was a proper palette knife. Oh, I know. These are Montmartre again, but much better than using those plastic ones. I'd rather use the nicer ones because they just have a bit more bend and flexibility in them. And as you can see, all different sizes. And that, just looking at these, probably I'm using small and that shape. That's an interesting shape, that one there. Do you see that there? That one there? It's got a nice shape, and the small one, and I'll take one of these. So that's given me a choice of 3. The palette knives are going to make different marks. And what you're going to find as you do this is you're going to find that mixing the palette knives, you're going to get different shapes. And the idea is to make your painting interesting, especially when you're painting like what I do, is to make sure that you have a lot of different mark making techniques. And this is what I'm trying to achieve here. Okay, so we're going to start with mixing a dark color. So I'm not going to use black. I had black there, but I'm not going to use it. I'm actually going to use Payne's Grey. I'm going to mix it with a tiny bit of the blue, just to give it so it's not so dark, and a tiny bit of the turquoise, just so it all it works, the colours work, and they all coordinate and look like they're in harmony. So here we go. And I'm just going to, don't be afraid to let some of the layers come through. See, yeah, I quite like that blue there. So I'm just going around and trying to just give this painting a bit of depth, because it just has lost its depth because I was playing with it and I just put too much other colours into it, and it ended up looking quite ordinary. So here we go, more Payne's Grey. I love this Payne's Grey. It's a fabulous colour. Okay, so, and down here I think I could take some more. I'll put some water into that too, should make it smoother. You need to keep mixing paint. I haven't got enough paint. I just didn't want to do too much because I'm really only demonstrating here. So, but if I was doing a proper painting, I'd have a lot more painting mixed. So there, I've got, that's better already. Have a look at that now and see what you think. I think it looks a lot better. It's got a lot more energy. It's got more contrast, and it's looking interesting. And I'm going to pull and maybe something over here. I'm trying to just do the suggestions of sky, mountains, and whatever. Okay, so that's good. Now we've used that there, this little tiny little palette knife. We'll try something a bit different. Let's try this palette knife. I really like the look of that square one. So I'm going to now use some of my phthalo blue and mix that with turquoise, which again is a lovely colour. Look at that. Now I use this just a little bit so far. You get much more. Yeah, that's interesting. And I'm going to put layer on layer here, so you have different layers coming through. Now, another thing to do is when you've got what you want, and you think, well, that's looking better already, as you can see. Don't be afraid to just run your palette knife across. It doesn't hurt. So you're cleaning your palette knife on your painting. That's a good idea. Now, I'm going to get this. I use a rag, and if I'm not sure about something, I'll just rub it through. I don't want to take away. And also, when you're looking and you think there's too many, it's too thick, it's too dark. So I use these here. These are facial wipes. And what I do is I take one of them out. I'm just trying to get it out. Sorry, it's taking a while. Yes, there we are. And I can wipe back things that I think just might be a bit too heavy. So you can see how I've taken the layer off there and just a little bit of, now that I've just very quickly done this. I want to be able to get different shapes. So one way to do it, because I tend to keep going this way and that way, I don't always vary my shape. So one way of doing this is to do exactly what I'm doing now, which is take away underneath what's there, and you'll get lovely, lovely contrasts. Just trying to get some. Okay, let's have a look at that. Okay, well, that's much better, but I think there's now too much blue looking at this. I think we need to put some creamy colours across it. So I'm going to find, where's my palette knife, that nice one? Here. There, this is a great palette knife, this one here. So I'm going to now use white and put some yellow ochre into it. Yellow ochre and white. And do up a nice light coloured mixture. Because it's nice to have a contrast of light and dark. And that's what we aim for, is many layers and lots of light and dark. So here we go. We've got the yellow ochre and you see, this is a really great palette knife because it's actually already creating some very, very interesting shapes. I'm not really giving too much thought about what's happening here. I'm just adding things, as you can see. That's one good thing about doing it like this is, and the technique I'm using at the moment and showing you, is that you can always just make changes so easily. Now, I can do a few things with this. I'm not happy. Maybe this is just, I can use a sponge and just sponge and get some different marks. See what I'm doing? I'm getting some sort of, and moving colors into colors, like blending, but I'm blending so they're not actually changing the color. I don't want to change the color if possible. Right, there you are. So we're getting there slowly. Now, again, I'd like to see some more colors, more white into it. So this time I'm going to be getting, what shall I use? I just play. As you're seeing, I'm playing. It's wonderful. I've got this big brush now. I just feel like doing something big. So I'm going to use this big brush, a tiny little turquoise, put a bit of water into it. So I've got my turquoise, white, and some turquoise. So it's quite a loose mix here. And it doesn't matter that you've got different colors on the brush, because that sort of adds to it too. And I'm going to just paint some, I'm just trying to get different strokes, moving this around, and see how using a bigger brush you get interesting patterns starting to develop, and it's starting to almost become like there's movement here. So this movement, I quite like the movement, so I think we'll try and create the movement here. Very lightly brushing, very, very lightly brushing. Okay. Now, let's have a look. Okay, I think now I need to get this back again and take some of this off, because I'm losing what's underneath. So we need to just... I just don't want this to overcrowd anything. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's looking a lot more interesting already from when we started. If you go back and have a look, you can see. And as I said, this is on a board. I'm doing a lot of this at the moment because they're cheap. They're about $5 each, or $5 for two. And this is 30.5 by 40, or 12 inches by 16. Great size. You can do a lot with it. And don't worry about it bending, because what happens with the bending, you can actually get it put into shape when you frame it later. So the good thing about this is not expensive. And what's happening is we are feeling like we can just let go on them, and not treating them as precious commodities, which we tend to do. Wow, I'd like to get some green into this now. I'm seeing a lack of green. The green's disappearing. So how am I going to make green? Well, this is an interesting way. If you use Payne's Grey, this is a beautiful colour, and this yellow ochre, it goes into a sort of a khaki, sort of a browny toning. And then we'll grab some white. Right, it's getting a sort of a neutral colour. And I'm going to put some yellow in and see what happens. It should come into a khaki greeny shade. And it is. And I think if we can put more yellow into it. Now you see that green coming up there? Look at that. That's a mixture of all those colours. So you don't just need to buy a lot of paints. You can mix them. You learn to mix. If you want, I have a really good mixing course you can follow online under my name. You'll find it under my Instagram and my website, Vibrant Silks. So I'm now going to just add this and think about it, the colour. Oh, not sure. And we do make mistakes. It's a dull colour, but it's a very realistic landscape colour. There's just something not right there, so I'll take it off. And that's what's so good. You can just put them on and take them off. Now, if I use a brush, I've got a brush here. I'm just thinking about other ways to improve this. I'm just not sure about the colour, that's all. No problem. So I'm going to get a little bit of this over here. And I'm going to add a lot of white to it. And then a tiny bit more yellow. Now that's a much nicer colour now than that deep. Do you see? I like that better. So I think I'll just scrape that off here because we'll use that later. Clean this. You don't want all your colours mixed in, so make sure you wipe this fairly good. That's why those are so good. And a rag, these facial wipes, amazing. And I buy them. People must wonder what I'm doing with all these facial wipes because I'm buying them all the time. Okay, now here we go. I really like that colour actually, and that's worked in quite well. Whoops. We always have things like this happen, don't we? I've just had my hand put in the white. My hands get really filthy actually. I should be wearing gloves, but I hate gloves. So let's just, yeah. I wouldn't want too much of this. It's quite light. Maybe a little bit darker into it. And all I'm doing is just trying to just push different shapes. I'm probably getting over top of areas where I think we could try and make it look more like a landscape. I'm not following any pattern at the moment, as you've probably gathered, because I did all that before. You would have seen me have the landscape drawn out, but you know, I'm not following this anymore. I'm just doing my own thing. And that's what happens. However you start, you sort of think, oh, this is great. I love this pattern and this design and the way I've got it, the composition looks great. But suddenly you realize that the painting has a mind of its own. And this painting, it's wanting me to put more of this color in for some reason. I'm feeling that I've got to run it through here. So you've got the green, the greenish creamy color contrasting, you see? So when you're mixing, you'll find that you will add. See how I'm getting a light and a dark and a light and a dark. I'm not giving much thought about texture at this stage, but it's texturing up quite well. Let's use more of this. Here we go. Running it here. And I'm just really dancing around this canvas. I'm dancing. All I'm doing is I just add a bit here and a little bit there and dancing. It's called, you know, you dance with your canvas. And that's exactly how it feels. It feels like that to me. Wow, okay. Well, this is coming on really well. I like the way it's developing. I'm going to hold it back. It's really good to stand back from your work and look at it. And I'm just now going to move. I'm just looking. I think it might need a little bit more lighter green. It's getting too many mid-tones. I've got your dark. I need to go lighter in the green. So I've got this. I'm going to mix this here, yellow, you can see, with a little bit of turquoise, which makes a beautiful green. But that's a very dark green. That's a sickening green. So I'll put a tiny bit of this into it, this acrylic grey. Payne's grey, acrylic grey. And see how suddenly it's darkening it up? It's becoming a better toning. It's dulling it down. Okay, you're saturating it, but it's also dulling it down. Now you can add that with white, which I'm doing now, and you're finding you can get a really, really soft, light, greeny tone. And that's really a beautiful colour. and that's looking quite good. I'm quite pleased with that. So I might try and put a little bit of that green across here as though we've got the ground. I'm just thinking about the composition and thinking about this could be looking afar and you can see, you know, and there's the mountains and it's a bit more green maybe here. Where is it? Here. Yeah. Because, you know, holding your brush is very important too. If you're going to hold like this, you're going to do very, very tight stuff. No good. So what you've got to do is, I'm about here, but I think even if I got down here, it would be even better. As you can see, you create, just let go, and just see what happens and twirl the brush around and, you know, you can always wipe it off. Remember how I wiped it off? It's no big problem really. And don't be afraid, just let your brush just move with you. And that's what I mean about the dance. Twirl your brush around. You see, this is a big thing to practice is your brush strokes. And if you learn how to handle a brush, turning it like this, even just whizzing it up and down, it actually will make your painting very, very interesting. And that's what you're aiming for, is a painting that people want to look at and they're like, oh, how did she do that? And what happens here? And always think contrast, light and dark, always important. Okay, now let's have a look. All right, well, I think that's shaping up quite well. I'll be having another go at this so you can follow me with this progress of this. We started with the other one and we're now here. I'd never have believed it would end up like this, but I'm really liking what I'm seeing. I'd like to put maybe some oil pastels into it just to give it a bit more sharper definition. It's quite, and there's no big square shapes here. They're all a bit wishy-washy. I really like the texture here. That's looking good. I love the colours. I really like this green that I put in. That's looking fantastic. Even this golden shade, I'd like to put more of that golden in. I think that's that golden, that's that one, that yellow there. I think that's a beautiful shade, and I think putting it in as little tiny highlights around different areas. And you can use your fingers. Don't be afraid to use your fingers to get that lovely golden. I'm trying to achieve a lovely golden, whoops, must have dirty hands. I have. Sorry. If you've got dirty hands, they'll show very quickly. So you try not to get the dirt into your hands. And see how I'm thinking about light. I'm using this hand now because my hands are very grubby. So painting with hands is not a bad idea. Don't be afraid to use your fingers. I tend to use mine a lot. It also makes me feel everything's very tactile, and it's a lovely, lovely feel you get. As you see, I've just put... I don't want to get too grubby here. Okay, wow, I think it's looking better. And look at my hands, will you? Sorry. That's why I love these wipes, because you can actually wipe your hands as you go too. They don't get too grubby, but I'm a messy painter with my hands. That's why my nails are just so awful. Shouldn't have my rings on either. My husband will go mad when he sees those. As he said, I'm not looking after them properly, but the thing is, I think rings are made to be worn anyway, not hidden. So here we go. You see how I'm just using my fingers here, and I've got this triangle shape and I really like that, so I might try and repeat that. It's good to repeat shapes around too, so I'm going to just try and repeat that triangle shape there. Take it down. Okay, so you've got a repeat triangle. I wouldn't mind seeing another one here, maybe using some of this lovely green. I'm using my hands now because I want to. Okay, there. And the paints are all mixing in together. And that so far they're not going muddy, which is really good. So I've got a bit of a triangle, triangle, triangle. So it's looking like it's coming together better. Okay, so that's just me just feeling my way through a painting. And I haven't finished yet. It's a long way off finishing, I think, but I need to now put this aside and not think about it. Just let it go. Okay, now let me take you back up again to me. All right, here we are. Well, it's been 25 minutes doing that. So I hope you enjoyed it. I did. I loved it. But I've actually got to stand back and look at it for a while and think about where the light and the darks are. I think it might need some more darks just looking here, but again, I'm not sure. Yeah. Oh dear. I think I might have ruined it here, there. I think I should take that away. I'm going to do that now. It's just not looking like it's right. So we'll just take that away. And see, this is a great thing. You can actually just do that just like that. And look at that already. It looks more like a plane. It's not fighting it at the moment. So that's better. It's leading in a softer way. I probably will look at this too. Not too much yellow. I've gone a bit too heavy on the yellow. And again, you know, just take it away. Going over here now. Right. Okay, look what I've done. Just so wiping, I've taken the big triangle there. I've moved that in together so it's looking more ethereal, really, more. And then I've got more of a line going across here with the green, so it looks like it's green. I think I'd like to put some more darks in. These sort of darks here, this very deep grey. The sky's just not quite right. I have to work on that later. Okay, so that's it there. I'm going to finish now because I really need to stop and just think about just what I've created. We also need to clean my hands. Grubby. Okay. Thank you so much for watching, and please follow me on Instagram because you'll find out what's happening. I'm trying to do a new program and starting from for people who want to be beginners. So I'll number them as I go. I've got number 1 lining up today. Follow my Instagram and you'll find it, and you'll find the free lessons on YouTube. If you like the way I paint and you think, hey, I'd like to learn, there is a lot of lessons that I have already put up, and I'll be putting up more $10 lessons, which is nothing. We're talking $10 American, maybe Australian, $15, $14. Sorry, something like that, maybe even less, $13. New Zealand might be $14, $15. So not expensive. I mean, you're going to have 2 cups of coffee and something to eat, and or 2 cups of coffee, you've nearly bought that. So don't be afraid to do the lessons. Learn off the people you want to learn off, people you relate to. So important. Okay? Anyway, it's just lovely to be back, and thank you for watching me and following me. I really appreciate it. Hooray!